I want to share with people part of your story, which is the story of many people in this country, but it's really fun when we get to make it more personal. Alejandro, you graduated high school recently, and now you're going to college, but you didn't have papers in this country for a lot of years. Tell us why you didn't have papers and how you managed to go through school knowing that you probably weren't going to go to college.
Yeah, it was very hard, especially when you have, that question, all this 4 years of work, and then at the end of the day, am I going to have my papers to go to college? I couldn't have papers because, my mom stayed here illegally, I stayed here illegally, so it was at that point of no return. You only have one way, is to go front. So that's what I did. We went through school, but God was good enough that at the end of my high school, my senior year, 2 months prior, my works permit and my residence came in, and it was God's timing in the sense that it was right before college started. It was right before I finished my senior year, so everything worked out for good.
Now I want you to talk to us about how you did in school, because you weren't just the average student.
Yeah.
Tell us about your high school experience and why it made it even more frustrating.
Yeah, at first, my first year and a half were really, really bad. School was completely different. I was coming from a private school in Honduras where you have 20 to 24 kids per classroom to a place where you have 50 to 60 in one, block or in one class. So it was hard. It was very hard, but I left all that in God's hands. And in a year and a half, I started serving at church in the media ministry. And they had a TV production and film club and class, so I joined them, And from that day on, everything went up, I started to see God's hands in my school, in my grades. I was able to compete for state championship, got first place many times on that. I was able to be honored by the principal for grades, for all the activities I did. I became club leader, like all these things that kids that were born here and kids that were in this atmosphere for so long, weren't able to accomplish per se, but God's grace, and favor let me do all that. So it was pretty awesome to be there.
What were you thinking when you're about to graduate? You have accomplished all of this in high school,
Yeah.
and you have dreams of continuing in this. As you get closer to graduation, what are your thoughts?
It was hard at first, especially when you see your friends applying for school, applying for big university scholarships, and you can't apply yet because you don't have your papers, you don't have your social, and it's hard because the people look up to you. People are like, "Where are you going to college?" And I'm like, "I don't know yet," and it's very hard to respond to those type of questions. But the closer to God, it got to a point I was like, "God, I leave that in your hands." Just like all these 4 years, I've left that in your hands, and God came through. God came through in the last 2 months, as He always does, right on time. So it was pretty awesome.